The Gold Cup is only a few weeks away. We've got Euros, we got Copa America. We also have a ton of teenage Americans that are just tearing it up in MLS right now. We've got the transfer market just heating up. And there's a few Americans who have kind of been out of the spotlight for a little while, maybe due to injury or other things, and they're kind of coming back into the fold. And there's one in particular that I really want to talk about. So I've brought in one of his biggest fans. You know him as a cold brew connoisseur and one of the biggest fans of the U.S. men's national team out there, putting out some of the best U.S. soccer content on YouTube. He is Kicking It with Drew SC. Drew, how are you, man? Welcome in.
What's up, guys? Yo, thanks for having me on the channel, man. It's an honor. I'm happy to be here. I'm ready.
Absolutely, man. Are you enjoying the this summer of soccer that we got going on right now?
Of course. Copa America, Euros, USMNT is going to be playing soon. I'm ready.
So speaking of the USMNT playing soon, the reports are that the Gold Cup roster is set to drop any time now. By the time people watch this, it'll probably already be out. Yeah. What are you kind of thinking heading into this Gold Cup? First of all, before we even talk about roster, Berhalter has said from the beginning that this is supposed to be like this is not going to be the main squad, that we're going to be seeing a lot of new faces. We could be seeing some of the second tier European players and a lot of domestic based players. So kind of what are your thoughts heading into this Gold Cup? Like, what do you want to see happen?
I want to see some new faces, but I also want to see some strong players. Like other countries, or like Mexico, for example, bringing in some heavy hitters, man. That's a squad. They really want to win this. I feel like they want to show us up. So I'm worried. I want to see some, first of all, good talent, new faces. That's pretty much it. I want to see a good working team.
Yeah, man. It looks like the U.S.'s victory over Mexico in the Nations League is bringing some heat to Tata Martino. And they got a few of the senior team players that are going to be playing in the Olympic roster for them. But the majority of what we saw in the Nations League is coming right back to the Gold Cup. So, I mean, congratulations for your Gold Cup win, Mexico. You did it. Good job.
Yeah, I know, right?
So getting into the roster, there's a few different directions, and nobody really knows exactly what's going to happen with this roster. But you mentioned that you want to see some new faces and some strong performances. Specifically, who are the new faces that you want to see? I know I got a few favorites.
Yep. There's one face I really want to see that we've seen a couple times a couple years ago, and that's Julian Green. I think he's done well with his second division team in the Bundesliga, helped him get the promotion for the next season. I think he's been playing well. I feel like he deserves another chance, another shot to really give him more games, see what he can offer now. He's older. He's probably more skilled. I want to see what he could offer this growing USMNT squad. So I really hope Greg Berhalter calls him up and utilizes him correctly.
Where do you think he should be utilized in this system?
I want to see him like his best position definitely in midfield. Maybe the 6, maybe the 8, maybe more of an attacking role.
You think he could play 6?
Maybe. I don't know. We need to find some people to play 6.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, speaking of the 6th position, I did a Gold Cup roster prediction video. I'm sure everybody did a Gold Cup roster prediction video. But one thing I did was I left off all the players that played in the Nations League Okay. Even the domestic players like Leggett and Yule and Acosta. I just don't want to see Jackson Yule again on this roster.
I don't either.
We need that 6. We saw that he can't do it.
No.
I'm ready to see some new players in there.
Yeah, like I said, I want to see new faces, but also like a strong squad. I don't want to go there and be like humiliated by Mexico.
Yeah.
Like, if we're gonna lose, I want to lose 1-0, 2-1. I don't want to lose like 4-0.
So there's 2 positions that like everybody's talking about that are big auditions coming into this Gold Cup, and that is the number 6 position that we've been talking about, the defensive midfielder, along with the left back. So I'm gonna kind of grill you on those 2 positions in particular.
Right.
Who do you want to see at the 6th position? Who do you think has an opportunity to like step up and actually not just play well in the Gold Cup, but like actually like join the senior team and potentially step in if Tyler Adams isn't ready to go?
Yeah. I wish Owen Adesawe was fit, but I don't think he's fit yet. Definitely don't want to see Jackson Yule. Definitely don't want to see Roldan. Kellen Acosta he played well. I think he did his job. So if
he played well, but we know what his ceiling is, right?
Yeah, he's got a cap ceiling. But if we're gonna bring like a B squad here, BC team, I feel like he's the best position, but the best player who could be called up for this role. To play in for most of the games in this Gold Cup, like most
Now,
experienced.
yeah, but there is one guy out there who is getting a lot of hype for potential transfers right now. He's a teenager in MLS, and he has easily the best sideburns in the league, and that is Gianluca Busio, who is probably my favorite player to watch in MLS right now.
Every game he's like lighting it up.
Yeah, and the question with him has been always, what position does he actually play? What position is best for him? And what does he look like whenever the level is a little bit higher? Can he actually play that? If he's going to play the 6 defensively, can he play that position?
Yeah, that's definitely a player that we need to see more of, and we need to see in like a big role with USMNT. So hopefully he gets called up. I would love to see him get called up. But yeah, in terms of where he can play in the midfield, I don't know. He's almost like a Lionel Messi type of player. He just kind of floats around everywhere around there. But you're right.
It'd be nice if he was a Lionel Messi type player. I mean, the thing about Busio that like really is intriguing is I started watching him at the beginning of this season, like really intently. Yeah. And the first few games defensively, he just wasn't good. Mm-hmm. Even like within MLS, he just didn't really defend.
Yeah.
But it seems like game over game, he's getting stronger in that area. And he's never going to be like a Tyler Adams type defender where he's all over the field and pressuring people. But he's more like that Italian, like a Jorginho type player that is going to like pick his angles and he's going to cut players off. He's going to get in passing lanes. He's going to pressure and do that type of thing. And he's getting more and more effective game over game. So it's giving me hope that potentially he could be that player.
Yeah, that backup to Tyler Adams. Flying here, sir.
Yeah. And, we say back up to Tyler Adams, but I was listening to Greg Berhalter on the U.S. Soccer podcast with Bobby Warshaw, I believe. And Bobby was asking him about some of the tactical evolutions that he's had since he's been coach. You remember whenever he was first coach, he had that Tyler Adams as the inverted fullback, and like everybody kind of ripped him for it.
Yeah.
But he said, like, we could potentially see that again. Why? And that got my wheels churning.
Why? I don't understand.
Well, okay, so Gianluca Busio is linked to some Serie A squads right now. He's linked to some German squads right now. What if Gianluca Busio, within the next year and a half, like, develops into, like, a really good defensive midfielder that can, like, distribute and keep the pace and be that guy that, like, maybe Michael Bradley was like at peak Michael Bradley. Okay. Then you can have Busio as the 6 and you can have Tyler Adams as that inverted 6. And then all of a sudden you've got like a really nice distributor with a really nice destroyer in the midfield. I don't know.
That's who knows, man. That could probably happen.
I know. Yeah.
We just got to keep dreaming, keep positive.
It's absolutely like, everybody posts their like dream lineups, and like all this stuff. So like that's definitely like a maybe lineup. I mean, who knows? Another guy who's getting a lot of attention at the 6th position is Leon Flock, the guy for Philadelphia Union, who was at St. Pauli, I believe, in Germany, and is now playing with the Union. Have you seen much Flock? What do you think about him?
I haven't watched many Union games as much as I would want to this year, but from what I've seen so far, I like it. I see why he was acquired. For the Union, he's looking good. Greg Berhalter seems to like him as well. So it's not just me. It's not just my Union bias. Yeah. He's being recognized by more than just Union fans. So that's I'm going to see what he can do. I'm going to see what he can offer this USMNT squad.
And I'm with you, man. I haven't watched a ton of his games. I've watched a couple, and he seems like a quality destroyer type player, but he's also more skilled than, maybe like Andres Pereira is another type of destroyer out there,
Yeah. I was always on the offense for the Andres Pereira. I was like, he's okay.
He's okay. He's good. I mean, but, after we saw Jackson Ewell, like particularly in the Honduras game where he kind of got overrun, like I was kind of wishing that we had like, if we're not going to get any offense out of him, just put an Andres Pereira out there who's at least going to be a destroyer,
I know.
but
Something
that's not.
different.
All right. So the other position that is like the marquee position that everybody is wondering about heading into the Gold Cup is the left back. The two names that are kind of the marquee names heading in are Sam Vines and George Bello. But we've heard comments from Berhalter that maybe some other guys are in the mix. Maybe Bello doesn't make the squad. What are your thoughts? Who do you think, if we're assuming that he's going to take two left backs, who do you think are the
Yeah.
left backs?
It's definitely going to be Sam Vines. I feel like one of them, if I'm Greg Walter, he probably is going to pick Sam Vines. If the other one, if he did say that about George Bello, then I don't know. I honestly don't know anybody else in MLS or outside of in Europe, playing in Europe, who could play left back. Maybe Shaq Moore as an inverted left back. I don't know if he's played there before in La Liga, but no, I would go with George Bello first, and then second is like up for grabs.
Yeah, I mean the names that have been floated out there. I think I don't have the roster in front of me, but I know that I believe his name is Jonathan Gonzalez, who is a USL player.
Okay, yeah, I've seen him. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
he's like 17 years old, and people have been posting comps of him. He's kind of great, fantastic on the ball.
But
and
not
then
a starter
there's
type player though.
what's that?
I wouldn't see him as a starter to start his Gold Cup game. Maybe like coming off the bench to replace someone.
Yeah, man, that's a big ask to ask a 17-year-old like that who's not even played at the MLS level to come into a Gold Cup.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, how old is Sam Vines?
Like 23, 21, 23.
Yeah, he's somewhere in there. So he's a little bit older on that young player scale.
And he's got more like senior caps under his belt too. So
he's got the Olympics under his belt. I think Sam Vines is better than the fan base gives him credit for, but he's also not exactly I don't know, Marcelo, Yeah. But the other player is a DC United left wing back named I had it and I lost it. Pereira? Gosh. Dude, I had it and I just lost it. But anyway, so there's this young player for DC United who seem to be pumping out young players right now. 17 years old, really skilled player. He's the player that Greg Berhalter specifically name-checked during his podcast about players who could be the left back. So when Greg Berhalter name-checked him, people all of a sudden started thinking it could be Vines and Paredes. Gosh, so the comment section is going to be nuts with people just like, how could you forget his name? But anyway, so that leads me into the next discussion that I want to have with you, and that is just about this. What do you even want to call it? Like, just the amount of teenagers that are in MLS right now, where it seems like week over week we're getting a new name of a new player and then a new highlight, and it's just kind of crazy. So, like, what are some guys that you've kind of been watching, and what's kind of stuck out to you?
Obviously, I'm watching like big names like Busio, Caden Clark, who just got transferred to Leipzig, right? Sorry, Cade Cowell. He's looking good too. I want to see where he could be playing with the USMNT in the future. This other young guy from the Philadelphia Union, I keep forgetting his name, but Paxton Aronson. We'll always keep an eye on him too. Brandon Aaronson's brother.
It's Mick something. What's his name? I don't remember. From Philadelphia Union.
Oh yeah, the Philadelphia Union is pumping out a lot of the teenagers.
Yeah, they really are.
This one teenager, 17-year-old, just scored a goal for Philadelphia Union. I forget his name though, but
yeah, with the bicycle kick.
Yeah,
man, and you know, Ricardo Pepi is one.
Pepi had a great name the other day for Dallas.
Yeah, he's a name that we've been hearing for so long, and it's just been like, when are we going to see Pepi? When is he going to like show us something at the senior level to like live up to the hype? I've been watching a lot of FC Dallas games just to kind of see when it's going to happen, and then all of a sudden he puts out this 2-goal game where it wasn't just the 2 goals. He was all over the place. He looked great out there, and it's just
he could be something too. And also, speaking of Dallas, Tanner Tessman, I know he's kind of like a name that was thrown around a couple months ago, but you know, in the Olympics, he was kind of, I feel like, one of the better players in the squad. I want to see more of Tanner Tessman too.
I mean, he was underutilized, man. I mean, he came on because of the injury to Yanez, and then he got a few minutes at the end of that last game.
He looked good.
He looked great, yeah.
He looked, for a guy like his size, he was pretty agile there, mobile too with the ball. So
yeah, some really nice balls over the top. I'd say better balls over the top than Jackson Ewell, even though that's kind of what Jackson Ewell is supposed to do.
Yeah, maybe if he keeps up with a good season with FC Dallas, he could be another name that's been thrown around in that position.
I mean, speaking of FC Dallas, Justin Shea, man. I mean,
Justin Shea,
the guy from
Bayern.
FC Dallas who got the transfer or the loan to Bayern Munich. I don't know if you've watched some of the comps of his games, but he's playing at right wing back right now for FC Dallas, and
Damn,
that's not really his position. But at the same time, you see him.
he's killing it.
He's putting in really nice crosses. He's having these really nice moments in possession, really nice passing, really nice like just a calmness on the ball and ability to break press. And I think that that's something that you can like apply to a lot of these teenagers in MLS right now. That they seem to be just different than some of the teenagers that we've seen in the past in MLS.
Like a different mentality too, like different drive, different motivation. Like they really want to be part of this golden generation of USMNT.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one is Moses Nyman. He's with DC United, and he got subbed out in the first half of their game. I'm not sure if there was an injury or whatever, but I didn't watch that. But I did see that he had like this pass that was just unreal from around the center line to like launch an attack. I mean, just week over week, you're seeing these guys that are just like
putting in some good performances.
Yeah, it's incredible. So we have this we have kind of two things going on in the U.S. soccer world right now. We have like the players in Europe. There's a ton of young Americans that are either in academies or kind of teetering at like lower levels, like a Conrad De La Fuente who just got his move, maybe like a Matthew Hoppe who's like kind of on the low end, but like looking to move up. Yeah. Then there's like the Fuller and Balogun type players, kind of at the lower ends. But also in America, we have the MLS players that it's just remarkable that, not only are they coming into the league at 17 years old and playing like veterans, but they're also getting contracts at 18 years old, something that we've never seen before they even get caps with the national team.
Yeah. That surprises me, especially when Bayern, like getting contracts for FC Dallas players. I'm just like, what are they seeing that we're not seeing yet? Like they must be seeing some good talents, and they must be good because, teams keep trying to acquire these young players. So that's only nothing but good for us.
I think it speaks to the quality of the development academies in this country, not just the MLS academies, but also some of the other ones out there that are in the once was the U.S. Development Academies, now called MLS Next, that they're just pumping out talent at a rate that's higher than some of the traditional world powers at pumping out talent. Yeah. I mean, I put out a tweet the other day that just kind of blew my mind. It showed the Golden Boy nominees for 2021, and the Golden Boy is like I think it's best teenagers in Europe, I believe.
Okay.
And there were 3 Americans, 4 if you want to count Balogun. The 3 were Brian Reynolds, Gio Reyna, and Yunus Musa. So of those, there were 2 that spent time in MLS academies, with Gio spending time in NYCFC and Reynolds spending time at FC Dallas.
Yeah.
Reynolds actually played for FC Dallas. So you have an MLS player that's on the Golden Boy list. And if you look at all of South America, and I think you can throw in Mexico too. I don't think Mexico had any. All of South America, outside of Brazil, the U.S. has more players on that list than all of South America.
And that speaks volumes, at least, to us. Like, I think we never would have seen that back in the day. Never.
It's crazy. I mean, it's one thing whenever you have like a Yunus Musa who's on that list, right? Because he developed it in Europe.
Yeah, abroad.
European player. Maybe even like a Gio Reyna because he went to Europe so young.
Yeah.
But
Brian Reynolds, though.
Brian Reynolds.
He was born and raised here, in the academy here, played in MLS, the league everybody laughs at. Like, he played here, now he's on the top list like that.
Top 100 teenagers in the world. And
not only more to come.
Not only did he play in MLS, but he didn't play very long.
No.
And he wasn't like a top player in the league.
No, he played like a couple games, and out of nowhere he was linked to a move away, and that was it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching the Copa America this summer much, but I mean, one of the things that I'm seeing is that outside of Brazil, the quality of the teams are just not
Garbage.
what they used to be. You know,
No.
like Argentina is still good; they still got a lot of players in their prime, but like Colombia, Chile, Uruguay, like these nations that traditionally are like very good teams,
Yeah,
like maybe top
yeah, you're
15
right.
teams in the world,
Yeah,
that they've kind of fallen off. And the reason is that they don't have those youth players coming through.
yeah. They're relying on their older generation who's getting older, can't
Yeah.
perform like they used to in past tournaments. So eventually it's going to catch up to them. And it look like it is catching up to a lot of those nations. I've noticed that. No, you're right. I noticed that. I was like, these teams can't seem to win a game or score goals or, try and beat Brazil, who's like
Hmm.
wiping the floor with everybody. But you're right.
Even Argentina. I mean,
No,
they're still a
they
lot of
look
their
like a
players are
mess. Yeah.
the stars, right? I'm
That's
not.
it. Same old stars.
Yeah, it's so interesting that that whole continent outside of Brazil. Of course, you always got a caveat outside of
Yeah,
Brazil.
right.
That whole continent is seen as like a football factory is not even keeping up with. I mean, it's
The
hard to
US.
say it. It's like it's
You can say it.
okay. It's not even keeping up with MLS right now as far as player development. It feels weird to say, and I feel like I'm gonna
No,
get ripped
you're
for it.
right.
But like, if you look at the actual like what's happening, I mean, it's a reality, and it's
Mhm.
crazy that it's a reality considering, I mean, this league has been around for like 25 years and the academies have only been around for like, I don't know, a decade at this point, but
Yep.
they've managed to uh, catch up with a lot of the world, and they're pumping out talent right now that is
Yeah.
competing with the best of the best.
Yeah. And I think for MLS really to make the statement even larger and like really cement it, I really want to see Greg Berhalter call. I would love to see him call a bunch of teenagers, young prospects in MLS, and see this team defeat Mexico in the final, probably of the Gold Cup with their strong A team mostly. I feel like that would say something too, just
That would
like
be
to
amazing. I don't know how you could
like
do
yeah,
that
this is
though,
the
man.
real deal. These kids are the real deal. This is a new breed of USMNT stars. Like that would cement it for me.
Yeah, and speaking of Mexico, I said this in one of my Mexico recaps, but I actually cut it out because my video was like too long because I just talked too long about that game. But if you think about that Nations League, that game, and what it meant for Mexico, because Mexico has a team they have a ton of veterans, right?
Mhm.
They have a few younger guys, but their team is mostly veterans.
Yeah.
Hector Herrera, like just all those guys, and those guys are just getting older and older. While our team is so young, it's basically a U23 team with a couple of overage players in there.
Yeah.
It was so important to Mexico to maintain that dominance and maintain that fear for as long as they possibly could. I know Christian Pulisic said in an interview following the two defeats in 2019 that the team was afraid playing Mexico, that they had fear. So the fact that in this Nations League window, as this team is still young, but it's just starting to kind of learn about itself, like Mexico needed to win that game so that the next time that we play in a qualifier or something like that, it's still in the back of the players'
Yeah.
minds
We'd be
that,
scared.
yeah, you can't beat this Mexican team. This Mexican team still has this aura about it, but
Yeah.
they lost it.
In beautiful fashion too.
We beat them.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, and you're right. That will give this Gold Cup squad more confidence going into this team. Like, this old squad, the other squad beat Mexico. This squad can probably beat
yeah.
Mexico as well.
Well, I think about the senior squad whenever they have to head into Estadio Azteca. Of course, it's going to be an intimidating environment, but
Yeah.
they're going to know that like we can beat these guys. We've already beat them. Maybe whenever they head down to like San Pedro Sula and like some of those other
Rough.
Central American countries, which is going to
Yeah.
be brutal. But
I can't wait to watch our A team go down there. It's freaking fly. I can't wait to watch our A team go down there and see how they handle that atmosphere, that CONCACAF atmosphere that's notorious.
yeah, man, a lot of people. I don't know where this is coming from. I interact with a lot of people either in my comment section or maybe on Twitter or wherever it is that kind of downplay CONCACAF. and downplay the qualifiers and just assume that like because Serginho Dest plays Clasico, the biggest game in the world, that like that's going to apply to whenever we go down to Costa Rica and play them in Costa Rica. Like it's he's already played in a big game, he knows what it's like. It's not the same,
It's
man.
a big game. It's the atmosphere. It's the fans. It's what it is. The whole atmosphere. It's a different vibe. And I watched a lot of away games during World Cup qualifiers. They're different. Even like the broadcasting is different. It's just a whole different vibe.
I'm assuming that whenever Serginho Dest heads to Madrid to play, well, first of all, he's just taking a train. I think it's like a 2-hour train ride to Madrid. But I have a feeling that the Madrid fans aren't like playing loud music outside of his hotel room.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that they're not giving him wake-up calls at 4 a.m., throwing like
having a party outside the hotel, fireworks. I think the Honduras fans did that a couple years ago at the USMNT. They had fireworks, keeping them up late, and that's just how it is. That's just the beginning.
That's it.
It's
crazy. Complete lawlessness as soon as you touch down, man. There's this video of Jurgen Klinsmann. I think they were either in Honduras or Costa Rica. I think it was in Costa Rica. The team was practicing at a practice field right before their game, and there was just like a mascot that had just like wandered on the field and was just like interrupting practice, and like nobody could do anything about it.
Yeah, and you know what? That's just part of like the passion that nation has for their national team. They want to see them win at all costs, and they'll do whatever it takes to have their team win.
So speaking of passion, I know that we do this YouTube thing, but at the heart of it, we are all fans. And one of the players that you're a big fan of is a guy that unfortunately has kind of fallen on hard luck recently, Jordan Morris. Now, prior to his injury, if we can rewind the clock, 2019 Jordan Morris was probably the most important player on the national team. He had scored, I think, the most goals coming into the COVID break. At that time, there was a lot of other players emerging. Brendan Aronson had just gone to Austria. Timo Weah was kind of coming back from injury, and there was a lot of questions about like, first of all, Jordan Morris was a starter at that time, and the question was like, does Gio Reyna start over Jordan Morris, or like, do we figure that out? He went to Swansea to kind of probably to prove that like he belongs in this roster. Before he could really get started at Swansea, he ends up getting a devastating injury. What was it? I forget. ACL?
The ACL tear, injury.
Yeah, so he's going to be out for a year. So my question is, he's going to get back before the World Cup. He's going to get back during qualifying. Where do you see Jordan Morris as far as this national team goes?
And it's Jordan Morris, man. Yeah, you're right. I do love this kid. I don't know. I think it's because, first of all, the history is I watched his first ever game. He was still in college while he got called up, playing against Mexico, a 2-0 win. And he scored the first goal. I watched that with my family. I was like, dude, this kid is the real deal. And, he stayed in MLS, kind of went down here from there. But you know what? I always just admired him. I liked him as a player. But I don't know, like after the injury, man, it's a bad injury. We don't know what kind of Jordan Morris we're going to see afterwards. I think this is his second pretty bad injury now. He bounced back after the first one, as we saw. But this one, I don't know. Like I want to see when the time frame is he comes back and what kind of player he can be when he comes back. Like is he going to get any games in MLS? Is he going to get any games like from where? Because we can't just have him come back. All right, you're healthy again. You can be on the 23-man squad for World Cup qualifiers. We need to see some production of him, something of him to see, like, you know what? He's still the same Jordan Morris. He at least deserves a spot. Maybe not starting now, but definitely on the bench.
So here's a scenario. Jordan Morris gets back from injury. He gets worked back into Seattle Sounders. Maybe by the time that they're like making their playoff push, he's kind of hitting on all cylinders. Seattle is one of the best teams in MLS right now, and probably the best team in MLS right now. We start seeing vintage Jordan Morris, where he's just being a powerful runner with the ball, scoring goals, finishing, setting up teammates, all that stuff. If Jordan Morris gets back to that level where he's like the best winger in MLS, does that give him does that qualify him for a U.S. men's national team roster spot?
Yes. No doubt, bro. No doubt.
So, do you think he's a winger at that point? Do you think he gets
Yeah.
in over Weah or Aronson? Do you think like there's changes in the roster? Like, what do you think happens?
Yeah. So, like you said, if he's scoring goal, if he was back to what he was before, if he was showing no sign of really having like slowed down because of an injury, um, yeah, man, he like I don't know if he's gonna start though. I really like Brendan Aronson. He's not gonna play on the left because that's Pulisic spot. On the right though, I feel like it's still up for grabs. Gio Reyna could play there, but I want to see Gio Reyna in the middle. I don't know, but I don't think he's going to start. As much as I love Jordan Morris, I know that there's players ahead of him, and I have to be like professional about like, look, bro, you got to be on the bench because there's other players who are better and have a higher ceiling and are younger. I think it's like 28, 29 by now. So
yeah, and you brought up a solid point, something that a lot of fans want to see, and that's that maybe Gio Reyna, maybe Brendan Aronson gets moved into the middle.
yeah.
If we see that happen, then that kind of maybe pushes somebody like a Sebastian Lletget a little bit further down in the pecking order, kind of solidifies up that area. You've also got a player like Conrad De La Fuente, who just got his move to Marseille.
Yeah.
Marseille. There's a world in which Conrad De La Fuente comes out and starts being a contributor for them and looks good, and all of a sudden, that's another question for you. All right, couple months into the season, Conrad De La Fuente works himself into a point where he's not an every game starter or anything like that. Maybe he gets a spot start every now and then, but he's gotten to the point where he's a contributor for that squad.
Yeah.
Maybe like just kind of like what Tim Weah was at the beginning of the season for Lille. If he's doing that, like, do you want to see Conrad at that point, or do you want to see Jordan Morris?
Damn. See, you know what? That sucks too for me because I'm a Barca fan as well.
Yeah.
So since like 12 years now. So like Conrad De La Fuente, an American playing there, and now he's got his move to Marseille, but still I'm going to support him. If he's lighting it up and doing good, again, like I said, higher ceiling than Jordan Morris, much younger, could provide more in the long run for the USMNT. If he's playing good or just as good as Jordan Morris, I have to go with the guy who could have a bigger future with the USMNT.
These are the things I think about, man.
Yeah, and then I'll shed a single tear as I see Jordan Morris on the bench.
Because it's a big hypothetical. There's a lot of ifs, but at the same time, like we've seen it over and over again, right? Like we've seen players like Brendan Aronson come into a squad that we weren't sure if he was even going to get minutes at, and he became a contributor right away and elevated his game big time. We sort of saw the same thing with Timo Weah, where we weren't sure what we were going to get out of him, and he, as he recovered from his injury, broke into that squad. Gio Reyna, we didn't really know what kind of contributor he was going to be. Ends up being, you could either say a starter or like a big time contributor for Dortmund.
One of the biggest players.
Yeah, so it's not like crazy to think that Conrad would be a major contributor for Marseille by the time Jordan Morris kind of gets back up to speed.
Yeah.
And then you have players.
That's another question. When Jordan Morris comes back and if he's back to his usual self, is he going to try again to move abroad to keep his name relevant in this ever-growing spot of the USMNT squad?
I would think he has to, right? I don't think that being really good in MLS for a player like Morris at this point is going to be good enough.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
No. And Morris is a good player. Like, he's not like a scrub player, I think he's performed well for Seattle. Obviously, he's at his best with Seattle, but I think he's a good player. I think he was showing some good highlights there at Swansea before the injury. So I feel like he showed little bits that, I can hang in Europe. Like, so if he's healthy,
he certainly can, yeah.
Yeah.
And the other side of that coin is that Morris, unlike the majority of the players in this national team pool, has experience, has been to World Cup qualifiers. Yeah. He's kind of been around for a long time. He knows what it's all about, as opposed to somebody like Conrad, who has zero experience.
Yeah, zero experience.
So Is that something that you weigh? Is that something that you value at all?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like you said, Jordan Moore's experience, so he knows how to play with the USMNT. He knows the environment of CONCACAF qualifiers. He's been around the block already.
Oh yeah,
So if
he
he's
scored against Mexico. He's done it all.
yeah, he's scoring it. Like so, yeah, I think that adds positive vibes to Jordan Morris's future with USMNT.
All right, Drew, we're about to wrap it up right here, but I see that you're sipping on something right now. So tell me, what are you drinking right now?
I am drinking a double IPA. Well, from Magnify in Jersey. Got that from my dad. It's fucking delicious though.
And I see you got what is this glass, man? There's an impressive looking glass.
This is like I guess a craft beer glass maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just I have like 4 of them. So when I have beer shares with my friends, we all pour a little bit. We'll try some. That's it. So
And before we go, I want to know. So it's game day for the U.S. men's national team. Maybe it's a big game day. Maybe it's like maybe it's a World Cup qualifier.
Yeah.
Do you have any rituals or superstitions or anything like that you do before a game or on game day?
If I'm watching a game of USMT, I have to eat something. I can't watch and not eat nothing. Like those tacos. When you made tacos that day, I made tacos that day. I need to have something. I can't just watch the game like this. I need to be munching because I'm nervous. Like I'm nervous. I gotta be doing some chips, some food. I gotta keep my mind distracted from not getting too nervous. That's it.
All right, Drew, that's all I have for you today. Please take a second to plug your channel and tell everybody what they need to do whenever they go to your channel.
Yep. Yo, what's up, guys? Your boy Drew on Yank Report. You guys can find me at Kicking It With Drew on YouTube or also Kicking It With Drew on Twitter. I'm always there. Like to chat with you guys.
Absolutely. Whenever you go to his channel, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe. It helps our channels grow. Thank you guys for watching. If you're still watching at this point, be sure to hit that subscribe button because you probably like soccer. And, if you aren't subscribed, make sure you do that so you can see more videos like this. The best thing you could do to support the channel is hit the like button. I also have a Twitter account at Report Yank. It always takes me a couple seconds to remember that. It's a little bit confusing. Thank you guys so much for watching. On behalf of Drew with Kicking It With Drew, my name is Sam, and this is the Yank Report. Thank you.